What's up, guys? Welcome to Straight from the Chest. My name is Justin Groth, and I am your host. Guys, I'm appreciative of you. Thank you for tuning in with me. Welcome if you're new. This is a personal development podcast. Hopefully you gain some value from the things that I say. If not, hopefully it's just entertaining at the least. Guys, I wanted to start off with asking you a question. My question is, are you being honest? And that can be transferable to a lot of different areas of your life. Are you being honest with the person that you are? Are you being honest in your vocation? Are you being honest in your language to others? Are you being honest? And another kind of ancillary word to being honest or neighbor word is authentic. Are you being authentic? So I kind of look at those as kind of being analogous. So are you being honest with what you like, your likes or dislikes? Are you being honest in your relationships with others? Are you being honest with what you say to others? This is very important. It's very, very important. And I think that it aligns the trajectory of where you're going to go predicated on if you're honest or not. So I really need you to think about that for a second, because it's very rudimentary at its core by you saying, or by you getting asked if you're honest and you being able to answer that question. But it's not that easy. You need to actually effectively take an inventory of all of the different elements that you function on and audit what you feel is not transparently honest. And that's another word, transparent. Transparent is seemingly being clear, right? So you're clear with who you are. You're clear with where you want to go. You're clear with people and your language expressed to others. You're clear. Are you clear? Are you honest? Are you clear? Are you authentic? Very, very, very important elements to your character in actually creating who you are and being somebody that somebody can look up to and admire. Not that that's your prime, focus, but it also helps, right? Who wouldn't want to be an admiring person to someone else, or an influence, a positive influence? I mean, everybody has to have one of those or multiple ones. And so I think it is something that we need to ask ourselves almost daily and actually be honest with yourself in answering that, because you will be your own biggest manipulator and your own biggest deceiver at the same time. You'll tell yourself, yeah, I'm good with this, or yes, I'm being honest, yes, I'm being authentic, yes, I really love what I do. And meanwhile, you're biting your nails to work every single day because you're anxious, you're nervous, you don't want to get in trouble, you don't like really what you do, but you're just trying to facilitate to remain above board, and just not screw up so bad where you lose your job or you piss people off around you. That's not loving what you do. But again, it goes back to the scope of the question. Like, are you being honest? Are you being clear with where you want to go, with what you want to do? And look, it may not be the popular thing, what you love or what you want to indulge in. It may not be popular among others. It may not be popular amongst your family members. It may not be popular amongst your spouse or what have you, your friends, your tight-knit group of people that you're associated with. It may not be popular, but it's what you know you're going to be the best at. Because why? Because you do it effortlessly. You can do it effortlessly. And that's where we get confused. That's where the polarization comes into play. Because you don't really want to do what you want to do because it's not yet popular, or it's not going to be monetarily efficient enough for you, or it's not going to be lucrative enough. Let's just put it that way. And it's not something that everybody else around you does. But you have this undying urge to start that business or start up that blog or start a podcast. But it's like something just holds you back. And oftentimes It's because you let fear, worry, just circumvent who you are. And that's the obvious wrong avenue to go towards. But it takes a bit of courage, it takes a bit of grit to just be clear with who you are and honest and be transparent with what you want to do, where you want to go, and stick with that. It's hard. No one said it's easy. And that's why we do things that are just comfortable and we get complacent in those things. Because they're things that are they're seemingly easy to absorb. And we love things that are easy to absorb. Look, we love the comforting aspect of things. I do too. But I know that what I want to do might not be that comfortable. But I know it's going to be worth it in the end. And so that's why I started lifting weights. That's what got me into lifting weights. And then that got me into bodybuilding. And then bodybuilding revealed elements to me that I didn't even know I had. I didn't know I had that kind of discipline. I didn't know I had that kind of work ethic. Look, I would see my dad. My dad owns a landscape company, for those of you who don't know. And predominantly in landscape companies are Hispanic people that work in them, okay? And I'm not being any type of way. That is the way that it is. And you understand this. Hispanic workers have a strong work ethic. But let me tell you who had a stronger work ethic. My dad. And I'm not just saying it because he's my dad. I mean that. He had the strongest work ethic. He would run circles around them. Probably because it was his business and it was his time that he was putting out. And if he didn't get this job finished on time, it was coming out of his pocket, granted. But what got him there in the first place wasn't money. He started from zero. Work ethic. And I remember looking at that thinking, there's no way I could emulate that in my own life. There's no way. I found a way. But it only came by doing something that I had an affinity for. That I had a native affinity for. That was weightlifting and I didn't even know it. But this showed me, revealed to me that I had discipline, work ethic, persistence like a motherfucker that I didn't know I had. And that's something that you have, but you have to search to find out. You have to search to find those elements. They don't just come willy-nilly. You have to find them. And if you're not willing to find them, if you're not willing to search and dig through the grit to kind of extract what you could be good at and what you could apply those elements to and actually derive elements from like that from, then you're always going to be a lackluster version of yourself. Always. There's no debating that. Having that conversation with yourself is tough. It's tough. Because you don't want to really find out that you're a weakling. You don't really want to find out that you've been lying to yourself for years. You don't really want to come in contact with and contend with that monster. Because he's a monster. It's a monster to know, to contend with that. You know that you've been playing yourself for the last 8 years and doing shit just to remain above board. That's a defeating monster. But once you come into contact with that monster and you're able to look at it in its eye and say, I'm walking away from you because you're not serving me. You're not serving me. I'm miserable. I'm just barely surviving when I know that I'm meant to thrive. But that takes a diligence on your end to be able to have that conversation, ask yourself that question, and be honest with your answer, and be willing to actually put in place a structure to change it. And I don't know why you wouldn't. Because your best version is waiting for you on the other side. And best version is arbitrary. I get it. But what is your best version? Ask yourself that. What is it, to own a house? To have a few dollars in the bank? To have cushion in the bank, rather? Is it to have a certain specific kind of car? Is it to have a certain kind of relationship? Let me tell you, all those things are going to be predicated on how you view yourself. And how you view yourself is based around your worth and your competence. And if you're doing something in life that has you barely surviving because it's just extracting elements of you just to survive, you're not going to be competent in it. And you're definitely not going to evolve your level of competency as a human being and just your worth as a human. You're always going to be subpar, always. That's non-debatable. But the moment that you're real with yourself, you're transparent, you're clear, you're honest, and you ask yourself that question, what makes me enthralled? What makes me happy? What do I love to do? And you have an actual, real conversation with you. And when you find out what you've been doing has been for the fair part of an extension of your life, a lie, that you would have rather done something else, but you didn't. You didn't partake in those measures because, look, they were maybe out of your realm, you thought, or you didn't have the monies to make them happen, or because you don't know the right people, or because it wasn't popular. Listen, there's always a way. There's always. And if you're good enough, those ways are going to present themselves in life. But you first have to have the aim. And that's a big problem. We don't have aims oftentimes. Your aim has to be clear. And you have to be clear with yourself. And you have to be honest. Not only honest with yourself, honest in the language that you give others, honest in the respect that you give others, honest in your communication, honest in what you love, honest in all of that, honest with yourself, honest with how you project yourself. Look, when I get on here, I am honest with you. I sometimes share vulnerable elements of my life. I'm being honest. That's the best advice that you could ever take from anyone. If that person says, be honest, that's the best. And when I say being honest, I mean not just in how you answer questions. I mean honest in your approach, honest in the way you view things, honest in the way that you view yourself, and honest with having the courage to bring out everything that you are organically from a native sense. That's tough. It's not easy because people judge you. And because oftentimes, if you're not strong enough, or you're not resilient enough, you'll let those judgments dictate your path. You always, it's imperative to understand this. I hope that you consume this. I hope that it digests within you. And I hope you have this conversation with yourself. Because if not, you're leaving a lot of your best version on the table. Done.